Good Tuesday afternoon, Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. We are live in Charlottesville, live in the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. It's great to connect with you on the platform. Phenomenal program lined up for you today. We have, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the program, just a fabulous person, and Erin King on the show. I've known Erin since her days at Commonwealth Sky Bar. She knows restaurants. She knows customers. She knows the front of the house. She knows Charlottesville's restaurant scene, working in a lot of restaurants herself. She currently is the sales and brand manager at Feast. Feast is in the Purple Building on West Main Street. Phenomenal small business, Feast, crushing it from a revenue standpoint year over year, expanding left and right. In a lot of ways, Feast is the Purple Building. Feast and Orzo, in a lot of ways, are the Purple Building. Here in Charlottesville, Virginia. She's going to join us in about 12 minutes on the program. Excited to welcome Erin King to the show. I'm excited to welcome Sal and Mike from Fabio's on High Street. I was curious, and I love Fabio's. We've gone there once or twice a week since COVID-19 has come a reality in Charlottesville. It's one of the brands we like to support, especially since we've moved from the south side of town in Redfields to the east side of town. We have relocated. So we're going across Fabio's constantly, getting from our studios on Market Street in downtown Charlottesville to our home on the east side of Charlottesville. And Mike and Sal run a hell of a joint. I'm curious how their business has changed and pivoted to keep up in a COVID-19 landscape, so we're welcoming them on the program at about 1:10. We're an advertising agency. We love working with small business owners, two of our favorites. Small businesses that we work alongside as an advertising agency with 12 years of experience under its belt, 12 years on May 31st. Two of our favorites, Interstate Pest and Service Companies and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Interstate and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine are doing things right from a COVID-19 standpoint and from supporting the community and making Charlottesville and Central Virginia better. And I can speak firsthand to that, because I see the commitment from ownership and from management to doing things right for the community and the team members. I see it from Interstate, and I see it from Scott Wagner's team as well. Support the businesses that are committed to supporting the community, and those two most certainly are. Judah, I'd like to go quickly with headline one. Headline one is something that we talked about yesterday after Monday's program, and let's cue it up. Give me the thumbs up. Downtown Grille is closing. This was a kick in the nuts for me, for lack of better phrase. I got to just be frank. A real shot to the heart. The Downtown Grille is an iconic location that is quintessential and synonymous and goes hand in hand with big time events in your life in Charlottesville. I heard so many people after I posted this on the I Love CVille network. I heard so many people talk about prom or weddings or engagements or anniversaries, big time days in their lives. Me personally, I proposed to my wife outside of the Downtown Grille. The reason I chose the Downtown Grille to propose to my wife was we kissed for the first time when she came from New York City to Charlottesville, Virginia, to visit her best friend and her best friend's husband for a long weekend. I met her on the airplane. We ended up meeting that night for drinks at the Whiskey Jar. We walked outside the Whiskey Jar for a brief moment of privacy the two of us had as her friend and her friend's husband stayed at the bar at the Whiskey Jar. We walked outside the Whiskey Jar, and right in front of the Downtown Grille, 5 years ago in August, we kissed for the first time. I then proposed to her in March the following year at the same spot, because it meant something to both of us. To see the Downtown Grille close is a shot in the heart for me. It's a shot in the heart for so many people in Charlottesville, because like you have a similar story of this brand and this restaurant that I just relayed. And why that's the case is because it's an upper level restaurant. It's got a higher price point. It's got a great corner location in downtown Charlottesville, an iconic corner location. It's a steakhouse. So these types of experiences are saved for big time days in your life. Big time days in your life. So I was sad to see the Downtown Grille close, and it's a permanent closing. It was very clear in the post, and you're putting it up again. It was very clear in the post that this is a permanent closing. Very clear in the post. From that, I want to segue into the second screenshots from the I Love CVille network. Jaclyn Grieger, who is a big-time person in the restaurant community. She works for Craig Hartman and Barbecue Exchange. You can make a legitimate argument that Jaclyn Grieger, in a lot of ways, is running the Barbecue Exchange, Craig Hartman empire. I think she would certainly agree to that. I think Craig Hartman would say, whoa, 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 whoa. I think Jaclyn Grieger left some comments on the network after the Downtown Grille story broke, and it really hit home to me. And I'm going to relay those comments, and Judah put the comments, the screen caps of her comments on there. I thought they were astute and intelligent and on point. She says, no restaurant has the margins to survive this. It's a matter at this point of what kind of debt you are willing to assume. Profit margins in most restaurants are 8 to 9%. Those are the most profitable. And then she adds this. And I'm going to paraphrase. Regardless of you serving 25 people or 100 people, it still costs the same from a rent, utilities, etc. standpoint. And why don't you cut back to me on the screen here, if you could. She is so right. She is so right. And that's why I wanted to share these screen grabs. She's a veteran in this business. She's running Barbecue Exchange for Craig Hartman, one of the most profitable brands in restaurant and catering in Central Virginia is this brand. Craig Hartman drives more tax revenue for Gordonsville than any other brand or business in Gordonsville. Employs more people. This is an extremely successful business. And she's one of the key members running the Barbecue Exchange behemoth, brand, empire. And she's totally right. I don't know how many business owners, and I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just speaking as a small business owner myself, who's 12 years on May 31st. His advertising agency celebrates its 12-year anniversary on May 31st, and whose business is responsible for feeding team members and a wife and a kid. Okay, I don't know how many business owners, especially in the restaurant space, when you have to have that kind of debt, I don't know how many business owners are going to be like, all right, I'm going to go this deep in the red for a glimmering of hope of climbing back out of it. There most certainly will be some, and I would be one of them because of the entrepreneurial spirit of us as business owners and as Americans, as Charlottesvillians, and the belief that we have in us and building something for ourselves, and the fact that we are better served as being number ones because it's very difficult for us to sit as at a desk and be not a number one. Okay, but she's totally right. Even if you're serving 25 people, your overhead from a rent and utility standpoint is still the damn same. And here's a crazy thought to think of. When restaurants open back up again, and Judah, I'm jumping the gun here, go to the Georgia story really quickly. The the NPR's headline. The NPR headline about Georgia opening back up again. Did you catch this headline? It's on screen. Thank you, Judah. Georgia beginning to reopen its economy, lifting some coronavirus crisis limitations. Guys, on Friday, gyms, fitness centers, bowling alleys, body art studios, barbers, hair designers, nail care artists, salons, they're going to open on Friday. Restaurants and movie theaters are opening on Monday in Georgia. I'm going to repeat that again. In the state of Georgia, the governor, some of you may have seen this, it broke yesterday evening. The governor has said we're going to cut back some of these COVID-19 restrictions, and on Friday, gyms, fitness centers, bowling alleys, salons, body art studios, barbers, etc. are going to be allowed to open and operate under some restrictions, and on Monday, restaurants and movie theaters are opening. That's huge. That is huge. watch what happens with Georgia closely, because that's going to trickle over and impact other states. We're already seeing Tennessee and South Carolina doing similar things to Georgia. I'm curious to see how this impacts Virginia, being in a similar geographical area as Georgia. There are so many people out there that want to get back to work, so I'm sure we're all following it very closely. I was taken aback that it's happening on Friday of this week. And I'm all for moving forward with the economy, just as big as anyone possibly is. I was taken aback that was Friday of this week. If it goes well, other states will follow suit. If it goes poorly, the trepidation is you may have another dip from a recession, stock market standpoint. A couple things I learned this morning on Real Talk on the I Love CVille network is Greene County, and this was one of our guests on Real Talk. It's a show we do on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. It's called Real Talk. It focuses on real estate and just trends in life. It's done with myself and Keith Smith of the Yes Team Realtors. Keith Smith welcomed Dale Herring, the Greene County Board of Supervisors, one of the Greene County Board of Supervisors. And Supervisor Herring confirmed on Real Talk this morning there is now one death in Greene County because of COVID-19. I believe, and James Watson helped me with this correction, I'm referencing Lloyd Snook's Facebook post, Counselor Lloyd Snook's Facebook post from yesterday, Monday evening. There was 11 deaths, COVID-19, according to Lloyd Snook's Facebook post yesterday, Monday evening. Now this Greene County death this morning on Real Talk confirmed by Dale Herring, Board of Supervisors, that should take us to 12. That's concerning. Another thing that's concerning that I heard from multiple people, and then I'm hearing it literally on the show on Real Talk when we welcomed Heather Hill of Charlottesville City Council to the program, and there's conversations being had. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, I'm saying very serious conversations being had about the University of Virginia not opening for students in the fall. That was a kick in the nuts for me too. As someone who loves the University of Virginia, as someone who loves and values the students and what they mean to the local economy, as someone who just likes to drink a freaking bourbon and eat some wayside chicken outside Scott Stadium on a brisk Saturday afternoon in Charlottesville. That was a kick in the nuts. But I'm a positive person, and I see potential with Georgia opening again as long as it's handled correctly. I'm a positive person despite headlines like this from the Daily Progress, Judah, about the city expecting an $8 million deficit so far for next year's budget. You see the headline on screen. Is that a thumbs up right there? It is. $8 million estimated now. If this goes further and students don't return for spring, second semester 2021, that's going to get deeper. So I caution all the folks that watch the show and listen to the network and the platform, and I know it's a lot. I caution everyone, whether you're the firefighters and you're looking for more resources, that's not going to happen. The teachers and looking for more resources, that's not going to happen. The police department looking for more resources, I'm sorry, that is not going to happen. The streets and improvements to infrastructure, that's not going to happen. What you really should wonder is the parking garage where the Guadalajara on Lucky 7, is that going to happen? The city of Charlottesville has a promise with Albemarle County to build a parking garage to keep its courts in downtown Charlottesville and not migrate the court system to Fashion Square Mall, Albemarle Square, Seminole Square, or somewhere in the county to drive economic development in the eyes of the county. So a promise was made in writing. I'm curious to see how a pandemic impacts a promise in writing for the courthouse and the parking garage that was promised to be built on Market Street to keep the courts downtown. I'm curious to see what happens with the Belmont Bridge project. The Belmont Bridge project has lingered in the news cycle for so freaking long. I'm curious to see what this happens with the West Main Streetscape and the funds that were being matched or allocated. And that's why we're moving forward with the West Main Streetscape project. Time will tell. Time will tell. Those are the items you should be following this budget. I think we all know the education budget's going to get cut. We know the firefighters are going to get cut, and departments across the board are going to get slashed, and we all have to deal with it, and that's just the nature of the beast, and life is life, and life is not fair, and we just deal with it, and we suck it up, and we go with it. What you should follow is that parking garage, the West Main Streetscape project, and the Belmont Bridge project. That's what I'm following. Erin, we're going to go to you here very shortly. Erin King from Feasil is going to join us. One more thing I'd like to get up is the emphasis to support small businesses more than ever. Let's go with the small business loan and the public companies taking some of that money, Judah. We've been hyping and promoting and talking about this all week, about how large public companies are taking the loans, the PPP loans, and the EIDL loans for small businesses. Well, CNBC has confirmed it. The U.S. government allocated almost $250 million, $243.4 million to be exact, went to publicly traded companies. Almost $250 million went to publicly traded companies. That's not cool. Time to support small businesses more than ever. Judah, Fabio's pictures. Let's show the guys we have coming up at 1:10. Mike and Sal on the program. I'm excited to welcome Mike and Sal on the program at about 1:10. Judah, I'm going to reach out. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. I'm going to reach out to Erin King, giving you a heads up here via Skype. In fact, it's ringing now. She is a restaurant veteran. I want to talk about Feast with Erin, and not only Feast, I want to talk about what she thinks the future of the industry is in totality. I have her on the line. If you can give me a heads up, Judah, if we can welcome her to the program with the thumbs up. Erin, if we can get you to turn your camera. Oh, awesome. Erin, we can see you. And Judah, she's good to go? Fantastic. Erin King is on the phone and on Skype. We can see you, lady. Thank you for joining us on the program. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Hey, Charlottesville.
It's good to see you.
You too.
All right. First, introduce yourself to the world.
So, my name is Erin King. I'm a Charlottesville native, born and raised. Grew up in the hospitality industry. My father's a chef, so I kind of just grew up around it my entire life. I've been at Feast here for almost 5 whole years. I start my 6th year in June, and I oversee the catering, the gift box program, the sales, the marketing, and the branding.
Well, you're a badass at that. I mean, I see the Feast balloons behind you. I mean, she's obviously has got a flair for branding and strategy. I really love that about her. First met her when she was working with Commonwealth Sky Bar. She and Justin Butler and Alex George were a very talented threesome that were running a kick-ass restaurant, one of the best in Charlottesville,
one of the best,
before ownership screwed that up. And I said that, you didn't say that. That's a conversation for another day. All right, let's talk about Feast here. You got Lindsay Marie saying, what up, girl? A lot of people watching you right now.
Hey, Lindsay.
How are things going at Feast?
They're going. You know, we've had to completely restructure and readjust. We've moved our entire inventory online. I think we stopped having customers in the store that 3rd week of March, so like right after the 14th is when we said, okay, we had stopped the samples a few weeks before that, and then we said we have to put everything online. So luckily we have an online website, you know, that we can control ourselves, and it's been an all hands on deck type of thing, getting every product that we have up there. And Charlottesville has been awesome at supporting us, and it's, you know, we love to take care of our customers, and we're really appreciative that they've been taking such great care of us as well. But it's a whole new world, and it's all online now, and it's all delivery and pickup, and it's a complete restructuring. And we're trying to figure out, now that we've kind of got this momentum going, how do we keep it going, and what are the next steps?
Well, I was going to ask you that. You've always been entrepreneurial and a visionary. Jamie Stuckey says, I miss you, Erin. You're doing a hell of a job here. Chris is saying the same thing about you, Erin. So is it easier, first a Feast question, do you think it was easier, because you got a restaurant background, Feast is a little bit different. Was it easier in a Feast type model to make this pivot to e-commerce and curbside and delivery than a restaurant?
Absolutely.
Okay, walk me through that.
Absolutely. Well, we already had we've already got our dips in our all, and we have prepackaged items that we already do for our grab and goes. So we already had that kind of structure in place. We were already doing. We had just started last year doing kind of pre-made dinners that were either available defrosted or frozen that people could take home. So we'd already had those fights. We'd already tested those products. We had already played with all the packaging options. There's other restaurants, I'm seeing pictures of like Dooners where they just filled their whole dining room with boxes of packaging. So that's a big purchase you have to make to be able to just survive. And do you even know if this is going to work? Well, we already did know that was going to work. So our main struggle was just getting it accessible so people could buy it and putting it on the website. But as other restaurants do have, they're struggling to figure out what the packaging option is and what do they do with it and how much does it cost? And we already had that in line, so we were a little bit ahead of the game there.
Great answer. Kate Elwood has a fabulous comment that I want to get your take on. I'm going to relay that to you in moments. Grace also has a comment for you. You have a lot of restaurant owners watching the program, including Sean Hayes in Greene County and Daniel Kaufman of Public watching the show. What do you think the future is? And I'm asking you this because you've worked at the front lines, every single position possibly imaginable, almost. Your man's in the game, a superstar chef in the making, and Rick. What is the future of restaurants?
I do think it's going to be more of this curbside. I don't know when we go back to letting people in the restaurant. It's definitely not Friday. We don't even think it's going to be June 10th, honestly. We're not sure what the next steps are. Health and safety is the number one for everybody, staff and guests. But we were already talking about ways to restructure the curbside, the pickup, seeing with the Grub hubs and all of that stuff how it is lucrative. And we have a very teeny parking spot to begin with, so that's kind of everyone knows coming to Feast at lunchtime could be a nightmare. So we're already trying to think of those ways. So now we're forced to think of them. It's not kind of we'll get around to this eventually. It's now this is the immediate problem. So it just put everything more, all these little projects we were going to do anyways, but now it's immediate.
Good stuff. Erin King, our guest, guys, on the I Love CVille show. How about this one here from Kate Elwood? She says, guys, sadly, if the delivery model is the new standard, restaurants will have to move locations if they can stay open because no one's going to be able to afford to pay the dining area rents if you're not putting butts in seats. That's a really good point. She's basically saying a lot of the restaurants, and we know this firsthand, we work together on this brand with Commonwealth Sky Bar, you for the client and me working alongside you. Commonwealth Sky Bar is class A rent. The reason it's paying that rent is because it's sexy and it's on the downtown mall. If the game is a delivery curbside takeout, maybe it's not a sexy real estate rent type of game here. What do you think on that topic?
I agree. We're lucky that we have some common space with the Galleria, so other people are going to pick up the ticket on the Galleria space as well. But you're right. What do you do with that space if you cannot let people in and you can't really host events? Because that's the only other space to do with it is, for parties and events, which is a whole nother conversation that's never,
Well, I'm excited. You are working for a killer brand in Feast here. How have you seen, and you've touched on it a little bit here, what are the goals for Feast to continue innovating and continue having success?
We're just going to keep streamlining, We're taking it day by day, week by week, I think now we're at week by week. At first it was day by day, and now we're at week by week, and we're seeing progress and, increase revenue every day, which is great. So we're just trying to streamline the process, We're taking our customers, our vocals, so they tell us where they're having issues, where, we're trying to move things online, and some people don't like the website or don't want to, you want to use the phone. So we're just streamlining day by day and just taking, and every comment that we get, we're trying to take it and improve on it. But it's really just one at a time type of step, at this point.
You're getting props from people. Chad Bradley, he says, go Red.
Hey,
Chad's watching right now. Blakely Greenall, welcome to the program. Holly Childress, Richard Ridge, Logan Cummings, Jonathan, hello. You got a bunch of restaurant owners watching you right now, Erin. All right, let's talk about this. So you manage brands like Sean, okay? The soul food joint, okay? I love the soul food joint. Let's just talk in general terms here. I would think a brand that's say the soul food joint, or a brand that's say a Wayside Fried Chicken or something like that is really set up when we get on the other side of this to have success. Because here's where I'm going for here. What if like we as people, and I'm not really like a germ freak, but I would be mindful of this. What if we now want to go to restaurants and we want 6 feet in between us and other people? Like, how can restaurants have like people in a dining room? Like, they're going to have to be able to have like half the people in the dining room. So they're going to probably have to raise the prices, right? To make up for the fact that they don't have enough guests coming in, or half the guests are coming in because of COVID-19. That's not going to work because people aren't going to be able to afford increased prices now because we don't even have disposable income. So wouldn't like a Take It Away or a soul food joint just be primed to blow up here?
Absolutely. I was watching a show on the Vice channel the other day that was saying, the fast food and the Chipotles are going to be the ones that survive this because they kind of already have that model, and they're also not chefs. They don't have to taste their food, so it's going to be much harder for chefs in the kitchen at Sky Bar to taste their food if they're wearing gloves and masks and all of that. Whereas somewhere that once the recipe is perfected, you just crank it out. It's a different situation. So yeah, they are gonna. Someone like Sean will be set up for once he gets the restaurant back open. For success. I hope.
Scott's watching in Virginia Beach. He says, "I miss you guys a lot." Chef William Cooper, welcome to the program. He's watching the show. Throw this question to you that's coming in. Can you ask your guest Jerry about food trucks and if she thinks food trucks are going to be popular?
Oh, I bet they are. I bet they are. I guess you'd have to, work the line out 6 feet away, but that quick, I think we're going to become a takeout culture. We have to be. And it's, it might be years before we go back to sitting down in a restaurant again and having, an event at a restaurant. So yeah, I think the food trucks will definitely take off.
Scott says, Feast has great deviled eggs. I just miss going into the store. He's watching at work right now. Ashley Major, hello. Welcome to the program. Can you give us, without throwing any names out there, everybody in restaurants here. Can you give us like a firsthand tale of how like real this is for people not working? Because I've been trying to do that here on the show. Shit is real out there right now.
It's real. It's real. Besides restaurants, I noticed it in beginning of February because we also do a pretty good gift box program here at Feast. And all of a sudden, we got some large, kind of inquiries for some large gift box orders through real estate agents and some weddings that were for welcome gifts. And we tried to go order gift boxes in February, and they said, no, you can't get them. And we said, why not? And they said, well, the ports in China are shut down. And, we still can't get gift boxes. So it's kind of like back in February, like, oh, this is really going to affect business. But it has affected business. As far as catering went, as soon as UVA shut down, that was it. That was absolutely it. There's nothing left. There's events are being, were canceled left and right. It was just, we literally took every invoice in my system and it was just like cancel. So that was a hard hit. That was a really hard hit. The day UVA said, don't come back, it was heart sunk to the floor,
John Shaughnessy's got a message.
Hey, Sean.
John says, best of luck to you and the Feast team. Rick and I were just catching up. We hope everyone is doing well. John Shaughnessy, guys, of course, Bell in Charlottesville. Her man, Rick, over at Bell in Charlottesville right now. Just shows how close-knit this community is. A lot of people enjoying the interview, Erin. People are asking,
thank you,
what's going to happen here? Where are we going to go? I'm getting this from what's going to happen. Just throw anywhere you want to go, Erin.
We're just going to keep plugging along and keep plugging along. Unfortunately, we'll have to look at different streams of revenue and, catering the weddings and the UVA events. UVA was probably 90% of our catering. So where do we go next? And, it's kind of a somber thing to say, but, we're looking more towards memorial service catering and that kind of stuff because bereavements and stuff will probably be heightened, in the coming months. So we're looking at other ways that we can reach out and help the community. We started doing like donation catering through Martha Jefferson, where our customers reached out and said, we want to help, but we don't want to do the nonsense. We said, we'll do the nonsense. So we have a package online where they can just donate 25 lunches to Martha Jefferson. So it's going to be a different type of, you have to think outside the box, to get that marketing. And, it's sometimes it has to be a little more somber, like bereavement catering or, sympathy gifts. But I guess we just have to take it with the flow and just, keep your eyes on what's going on in the world and react to it.
Well said. What'd you make of the downtown Grille closing?
Oh, sad. It's sad, and I think it's the first of many. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm speechless. Almost. It's kind of like, what's next?
Do you think
What's going to
you
happen?
think it's the first of many?
I do.
Me too.
I do. It's just like you said with Commonwealth. It's like, what do you do with that space? And all that rent for takeout's not gonna pay the bills.
Yeah, that's nuts. I totally agree with her. I mean, guys, put it in perspective here. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn because this is common knowledge. Rapture's rent is $19,000 a month. 19,000 a
Oh my
month.
God.
You crushed it. I knew you would. You're great in this setting here. Curtis Shaver, Chef Shaver, restaurant owner, Peloton Station. Welcome to the show. Anywhere you want to go. How about a final word, Erin, for Charlottesville from Erin King?
All I can say is keep shopping local, please, 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 please. And one other thing about Feast is that we are providing a place for lots of local Virginia purveyors to sell their goods. We have farmers come every day. If we run out of eggs in the morning, we get on the phone with the farms and we call them and say, bring us more eggs, bring us more greens. So if you support Feast, you're also supporting all these other local Virginia purveyors and, Monastery Gouda, the nuns out in Crozet. So we're doing our best to keep the Virginia products on hand and the local purveyors on hand. So just keep shopping local, Charlottesville, shop small. I think it's working.
Nice. Erin, thank you.
Thank you so much,
You
Jerry.
were awesome. Erin, so good. So good. She's fabulous. David Strange, welcome to the program. I see folks in 7 different states watching the show. We're live on 12 Facebook pages, 12 different Facebook pages on the I Love CVille network. Chef William Cooper, who also owns a fabulous food truck in Central Virginia, leaves this message for Erin King and everyone watching. Keep fighting. We will make it through this together. I agree. Sal and Mike Scotto, they own Fabio's on High Street. They're going to join us in 6 minutes on the I Love CVille show as we spotlight the journey of 2 chefs and restaurant owners, and Sal and Mike, and how they've pivoted their model on High Street to accommodate us in a COVID-19 world. I went there, my in-laws are in town, and my brother-in-law, 3 additional people in our house, because they live in, my brother-in-law in New York City, and my in-laws on Long Island. And that's an epicenter of destruction for COVID-19. Manhattan and New York City and Long Island is one of the hot spots. So they're staying some extra time with us here in Charlottesville in our home. And on Friday, this past Friday, I was leaving work in I Love CVille on Market Street. I was driving down Market Street. I took a left at the Guadalajara, where the parking garage is supposed to be built, went down High Street, and I went into Fabio's, and they have a pop-up tent outside. And they have 3 to 4 people working the pop-up tent outside, wearing masks, limiting interaction with people. They're running the food from the pop-up tent, which is checkout, to the cars. I felt like I was in like the 1950s at one of those like roller skating, drive-up burger joints where you ate in the car. It was awesome. We got in and out from Fabio's on High Street in like 20 minutes. I enjoyed a beverage in the vehicle and listened to a podcast while I was waiting. I got 3 large pies and went home, and everybody was happy. We're going to spotlight their journey as business owners here in T-minus 5 minutes on the I Love CVille show. I got a couple of notes that I'm working on as potential topics for the show. I'm curious of a couple things. Real estate-wise, I do 2 things professionally. I own an advertising agency that's 12 years old in May. We service a lot of clients. We also have a fair amount of real estate within a real estate investment company that I own, including a lot of the Macklin building and some other properties around Charlottesville and Albemarle. The reason I'm bringing that up is I have a Post-it note here that has 2 words, value and neighborhoods written below it. So on the network, maybe tomorrow or Thursday, I'm going to spotlight neighborhoods in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia where you can get really good value. The COVID-19 situation has impacted the real estate market, and what it's done is it's really suppressed demand. And it's not that the demand isn't there, it's that the demand doesn't know how to interact with the marketplace. It doesn't know if it can go into a home. It doesn't know if it can close or get an appraisal or get in a home inspection. It's just uncertain. I'm here to say that real estate sales are 100% still happening in March and April, and I know that because I closed and purchased my home on March 28th, so not too long ago when we moved from Redfields to the east side of town, from the south side to the east side. So what I'm saying is there is ridiculous opportunity now from a real estate standpoint, from a value standpoint. There's a lot of value that was not there even 60, 90 days ago. I'm talking 10, 15% in savings potentially. So I think if you're a smart investor, whether you do it professionally as a business revenue stream, or you're looking for a forever home for your house, you're looking to trade up or trade down, there's a shitload of opportunity right now in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. We're going to spotlight that opportunity on today's show in some of the neighborhoods that I'm watching where the days on market for these listings is starting to creep up. And when that DOM creeps up, it makes sellers nervous and more inclined to change their price. And there's chances for people to buy homes now. There are more affordable homes in Charlottesville and Central Virginia now than there were 60 days ago. And as a positive person, one of the positives that could come out of this is potentially a stabilization in price points in the Charlottesville and Central Virginia economy, where housing and the housing market was going up 5, 10, 15% year over year. It was not sustainable. That's coming back to earth, which is going to allow people to enter the market that could not enter the market at the end of 2019 or even at the first quarter of 2020. Judah, I'm going to go to Sal and Mike. Now, I'm FaceTiming Sal. I'm excited to spotlight these guys on the show. Why I'm excited to spotlight them is I think they're good for Charlottesville. They make Charlottesville better. And I was really impressed of how they've pivoted their model and changed things to make it easier for us as customers. And I have them on the line. Judah, gentlemen, hold on one second. Judah, can we go to the fellas at their restaurant? Is that possible? I got a thumbs up from our director. Mike and Sal, you are live for Charlottesville, Virginia. Gentlemen, how's it hanging? What's the good word? How you guys doing?
What's going on, Jerry? How you doing? Hello, Charlottesville.
How's it going? Guys, I was so impressed with how you're adapting to COVID-19.
We're trying, Jerry. We're trying. We're trying our best.
Tell us what you're doing.
So basically, we closed for a week, and we tried to arrange everything like you say. And we put a gazebo outside at the entrance of the restaurant. And basically, we're driving traffic through the gazebo, and then nobody is allowed into the restaurant. Basically, you order online or you call in, and then you can just drive through the gazebo and pick up your food. So that's so far. We're still working on it. It's all new to us, so we're trying to adjust to the new system.
You're crushing it right now. Can I ask you this? How was business impacted? Because you guys have a hot spot. Your food is amazing. It's priced fairly. It's served by people that are involved in the community. It's done in A-plus fashion. I love everything about your restaurant here. How was business impacted before and after COVID-19?
Well, at the beginning of the year, it seemed as if everything was going smooth and everything was going perfect. Everybody was, we were having some beautiful weather, which allowed people to be out and about even more than usual during the winter time. Business was going fairly well. And then it just came to a dramatic, it was just like, what is happening? It was 1 week, everything was normal. And then the next week, it was, what just happened? How do we go in this situation? So it really kicked us in the face overnight. It was something that just we weren't expecting. Watching the news, you hear about things happening and how they're coming and how you can be prepared and stuff, but then you don't know how something is going to be until it actually happens. And when it happened, many people weren't ready for it, us being included. That's why we had to close for a week and kind of get our restaurant ready for, the new circle of business that was going to be happening. So yeah, it was kind of tough, but while we were closed, we were able to set up a barrier between the register and the outside. Because at first we were going to allow the delivery drivers to come inside and pick up their food, but then since we already have the employees inside, then our place is fairly small altogether. We figured it'd be better to just keep the employees inside and keep everybody outside, which is a good thing that's still keeping us in business. Ivory does take extra help because now you're running kind of two operations at the same time. There's got to be someone back in the kitchen getting the orders ready and send them out, and there's got to be someone outside making the traffic go by, placing the orders, communicating with the back, making sure that there's a communication, everything going in and out. We're still adjusting. It's not easy, but day by day we figure it out better. So we'll see how it goes.
You got a lot of folks giving you guys some props. Yolanda says, I love Fabio's. Go Mike and Sal. Colleen Tyler says, I absolutely love Fabio's. Tim Ryan is watching, says, you guys feed my family every Friday. We live in Cascadia. We absolutely love your restaurant. Grace says, I miss you guys tremendously. Elena Mangione, the owner of Mangione's on West Main, is watching the show. Johnny, the owner of Guadalajara, is watching right now. And Johnny says, stay strong, Fabio's. Much love from the Guadalajara on Fontaine. Stay strong. What does this mean to you, Mike?
Well, I do appreciate that, and I'm so happy and proud to be part of this community, because the community, if it wasn't for them, we could be strong as much as we want, but without you guys, without Charlottesville support, we're not going to go anywhere. And, I'm really proud and happy to be part of a Charlottesville community. And I do want to thank you from me, my partner, and my entire team from Fabio's for their support during this time, and actually for the actual business they give us all through these years.
I love it, man. I'm getting choked up over here. You guys are amazing.
Well, I do appreciate you too, because you are part of this community. I do appreciate your support.
No, I really am, man. I think this is I love this town so much, and I know you guys do as well. And just seeing everybody rally around each other, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Sal, it's just I love seeing the community step up.
I mean, so most of those people that you've named that were giving us shout out on your comments, those same people are the people who call us. They don't even call us to order sometimes. They call us, are you guys doing okay? Do you need me to place an extra order today? How can I help you guys extra? Can I buy a gift card? Some lady, her name slips because I just met her today, although she gave us a mask 10 days ago. She donated some masks that she made on her own with some fabric, and that's been a great help because supplies are also low and have been hard to find. And if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be able to be here without, because we're required to wear the masks and everything as we go through the operation.
Sounds like you guys are busy over there. A couple more questions here. You crushing it. Wilson Ritchie's watching from the Whiskey Jar. He's the owner of the Whiskey Jar and Revolutionary Soup. You got Fireman watching. What's up, Dorsey? How you doing? Fireman Dorsey's watching the show here. What are we going to look like on the other side of this, do you think, fellas? What's restaurants going to look like when we're done here? I mean, here's the crazy thing is are people going to want it, or is the expectation when you go in a dining room that you're going to have to be 6 feet apart from each other? What's it going to be when we're done here? Have you thought about this?
We really don't know, I'll be honest with you. But I still think for a little while, everybody's going to be, in a way, traumatized from this. So I think, yes, we're still going to try to keep the social distancing. We're still going to keep the barrier in front of our register, and then hopefully everything will go back to normal one day. We're gonna go back to normal and I think we're gonna be stronger than before as a community. I think all of us we learned a lesson from this. I really believe we're gonna be stronger.
Wilson's got a message from you. This is from a very large restaurateur. I love the Fabio's guys. Some of my favorites pizza and sandwiches are from Fabio's on High Street. That's from Wilson Ritchie. And there's countless messages like this. Is Muffy your wife?
It is.
Okay. Muffy says, you guys are the best. Keep up the good work. Stay strong, guys. So she's watching. All right, close on this note. Anywhere you want to go, guys. Family, community, good food, everything that you guys represent, fair prices, doing right by your customers. Anywhere you want to go, the show is yours, guys.
I think one thing that we want to close with is we can all learn something from this. When a bad thing happens, so many good things come off of it if you let it come off of it. So this has been a bad thing, but it's also shown us that we can be better people. We can be more involved in the community. We can help each other out without getting something in return. It's pretty much up to us now. We got to give each other a hand, and there's going to be a few months of uncertainty coming up because we're not going to go back to normal life overnight. It's just not going to happen, and there's going to be many different venues and people who react different to the changes. And I'm just hoping that this teaches lessons, and we all come out on the better end of this as better people and able to help each other even more than we already are continuously throughout the rest.
That was beautiful. I appreciate you guys. Get to Fabio's, order some food. They got great food. I love you guys. I will see you Friday, if not before. Mike, thank you.
Thank you. We do thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have a good one.
Thank
We
you.
will.
Too,
Thank you.
Jackie.
Thank you. Love
Later.
you guys. Bye, guys. I was there Friday. I think we were there on Tuesday. We were there the previous Friday. So good. So good. They're there. I see them making the food, taking the food out, interacting with the customers. I love local businesses. And I love, they bust their ass. They have a pop-up tent out front of their restaurant on High Street. You do not have to get out of your car. The food comes directly to you. It is amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I want to close with what we learned from the show, Judah. And what we've learned is going to be a fast-paced version of the headlines to start, my friend. So get ready to rock and roll with the first one. I'm going to put myself on the clock. I'm going to close the show, every show moving forward, with this kind of idea, what we learned today. So here goes, Judah Wickhauer, the start of the sizzle reel. So here's what I learned on Tuesday, April 21st, 2020 in Charlottesville, Virginia. I learned that the Downtown Grille announced its permanent closing yesterday. This was a kick in the nuts for me, a real punch in the gut and a stab to the heart. The Downtown Grille is where I proposed to my wife to. The Downtown Grille, right out front, is where she and I kissed for the first time. It's a place where proms have been enjoyed, anniversaries have been celebrated, funerals have been gone through, weddings, engagement parties, holidays. It's a place that is iconic to Charlottesville because of its location on a corner, because of its signage, its branding, its steakhouse quality, its price point, its white tablecloth, and the fact that it was in downtown Charlottesville. To see the Downtown Grille announce its permanent closing is unfortunately going to be the start of many to come. The second tidbit of what I've learned today on the program is Jaclyn Grieger's analysis of restaurant profit margins on the I Love CVille network. She left this commentary, and if you could put the screenshots up, Judah, she left this commentary for us yesterday on the network. She basically said, unless you want to go into serious debt, it's really bleak if you're a restaurant owner right now. Okay? Whether you're serving 25 guests or 100 guests, your rent doesn't change. Your electric bill is essentially the same. You have fixed items of overhead that will not change no matter the head count that you serve. That's concerning because the future is going to be a social distance dining room with 6 feet of room for the Holy Spirit between guests and diners. And when you go from 100 to 200 to 300, depending on the size of your restaurant, 400 covers a night, and social behavior, and the world says you can no longer do your full capacity. You have to do 50% less because you have to leave room for the Holy Spirit and this 6-foot buffer between guests. That's going to impact your margins and your sales. And you have a couple of decisions to make if you're a restaurant owner. You can raise the price of your menu. And if you raise the price of your menu, you're going to eventually price yourself out of the market. You can keep your menu prices the same, and if you do that, you're going to lose money because you can't serve half the guests for the same amount of money and expect to stay in business. So there's truly a crossroads for this industry on what to do. The ones that are going to come out of this best are the ones that own their real estate. The ones that come out of this best are the ones that are already positioned for a takeout, to-go, or curbside model. Unfortunately, the ones that are going to come out of this the worst and the ones that are going to die are the downtown grills of the world. And that sucks because that restaurant was awesome. But the white tablecloth fine dining, unfortunately, is not something that is a COVID 2020 world. I'm going to close on that. Tomorrow's program's a good one. It's an abbreviated one because we have a lot of business we have to take care of with our advertising agency. We're going to be joined by Adam Donovan Groves of the wedding industry. He's one of the premier wedding planners in Central Virginia. I'm going to straight up say it, and he's not going to agree to this. I'm going to say it, and I know it's fact. Adam Donovan Groves is one of the premier wedding planners in the Commonwealth of Virginia. He's going to join us tomorrow at 12:35 to talk about the wedding space, the event space, and where we're going with weddings. I had a wedding, and my wife's from Long Island, and they're Irish. They're Irish Catholic, and they do big family friend weddings. We had a wedding with like 160 people in Central Virginia. Is the 160-person wedding a thing of the past? Is today's wedding... Is the wedding moving forward now going to be the bride and the groom, the preacher or the officiant, the bridal party, the groom's party, close family, that's it, and the entire event streamed live on social media? That's the future, perhaps, of weddings. We're going to talk about that with Adam tomorrow on the I Love CVille show. You may disagree with me, but if we're talking about that in restaurants, if we're talking about that with airplanes, if we're talking about that with transportation, like buses and trolleys, and this impacting Uber because people don't want to get into an Uber ride because they're concerned about the cleanliness of the vehicle and what the driver was doing beforehand, how is this not going to impact weddings? We'll talk about that tomorrow on the I Love CVille show. We got this. We got this. Follow Georgia. Georgia is opening its economy again. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing. I'm saying it's a barometer of progress. And yes, first to market often gets slaughtered. It's usually second, third, and fourth to market that win and gain market share. Perfect example, Friendster, MySpace, Facebook, Instagram. Georgia, I hope you're not Friendster. I hope to God, Georgia, that you're not Friendster and MySpace. Please, dear God, don't let Georgia be Friendster and MySpace. It's the I Love CVille show. I'm Jerry Miller. Take care. Keep going. Keep going. Did you turn it off? Okay. Is it off? No. Okay. Okay, what? You turn it